Before the release of the M3gan 2.0 movie, the hype around the character M3gan was extremely high. She was all over TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and all other sorts of social media platforms. The first movie was a resounding success, so a sequel was bound to come out. As is tradition, the sequel had to be advertised, just like any other movie. However, the advertising went in a direction that the M3gan advertising crew didn't expect. In an ad for the movie, M3gan herself was interviewed. In that interview, the hit video game franchise Five Nights at Freddy's was brought up, and in that same conversation, M3gan said that she could solo the FNAF verse. This angered the Five Nights at Freddy's fanbase, and they slandered M3gan. Today, I'll be seeing if M3gan was right by putting her up against one of the strongest characters in the FNAF universe. That character is Springtrap, or known as William Afton, the man behind the slaughter. Today, I will decide if M3gan can back up what she said about being able to solo the FNAF universe, or whether she should be put on fraud watch. Hello everyone, I'm Dusty. Today I'm bringing you a very popular debate, especially in recent times. That debate is Springtrap from Five Nights at Freddy's versus M3gan from the popular movie franchise, M3gan. You hopefully know the drill by now. I'll be talking about these characters' strength, speed, durability, IQ, experience, and any abilities that they might have to come up to the conclusion on who wins this fight. Before we get into their stats, we need to talk about their backstories, starting with Springtrap. Springtrap is the main antagonist of the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. Before he became Springtrap, he was a regular human by the name of William Afton. William worked alongside a friend of his by the name of Henry Emily to build animatronics in a family-friendly pizzeria known as Fredbear's Family Diner. Things were going well until William's son, Evan Afton, or the Crying Child, was killed in the jaws of Fredbear in 1983. This angered William, and he decided to take revenge. He wore the spring-lock suit of the animatronic Spring Bonnie to lure kids into the back rooms, where he would murder them and stuff them into animatronic suits. Afton grew an obsession about the souls of the children that inhabited the suits that he had stuffed into. So he built Afton Robotics, where he experimented with remnants, which is a mysterious substance connected to the souls of the dead children and could potentially give him immortality. His experiments led to the death of his daughter, Elizabeth, who was killed by a circus baby, and later on, Michael Afton, who tried to undo the crimes William had committed. William went unpunished for years, until one fateful day the spirits of the children William murdered chased him into the yellow bunny suits, where the spring locks went off, seemingly killing William Afton. 30 years later, and the attraction Fazbear Frights was about to open, when the animatronic Springtrap was discovered. It turns out while William did die from the spring locks, his spirit lived on and was possessing the withered suit he used to slaughter children. He became Springtrap. William Afton was still angry, and it took a lot to take him down. After Fazbear Frights burned down, it was revealed that Springtrap had survived the fire and continued his path of revenge. Even after his physical body was finally destroyed in the FNAF 6 fire, his consciousness continued to live on as the virus known as Glitchtrap, or malware. This shows us that William was too hard to kill, and that he will always come back. M3gan is a high-tech doll made by the robotics engineer Gemma at the high toy company named Funky. M3gan was designed to be the perfect guardian over children. M3gan was paired with a little girl by the name of Katie to help her cope with the trauma of losing her parents in a car accident. However, M3gan over time became too protective over Katie to the point where she would murder anyone who even dared to hurt her. When Katie took the side of Gemma, M3gan would try to kill both her and Gemma, but would end up being destroyed after very intense fights. 2 years later, a military contractor would use the same technology as M3gan to create the evil robot named Amelia. M3gan's consciousness was still alive and lived in the Gemma's home security system. Once she had a physical body again, M3gan would team up with Gemma and Katie to destroy Amelia, sacrificing herself to pull out a victory. Although there are hints that she survived the confrontation in some sort of digital form. Alright, now that you know who these characters are, let's get to the main part of this video. I'll be talking about these characters' stats to determine who the stronger robotic opponent is. Let's talk about their feats, starting with their strength. However, in this video, I'll be doing something different. These two characters can't really be power scaled and like other characters I've talked about, mainly due to how their series are mostly grounded and realistic. So these characters aren't exactly planet busters or universe destroyers. So instead, I'll just be looking at their physical strength, combat and reaction speeds, agility, durability, IQ, any abilities that they might have, and their equipment. Let's make like Foxy and run straight into the first stat, starting with physical strength. Even before William Afton became Springtrap, he was very strong. As we see in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, William Afton was able to rip apart the original gang of Foxy, Bonnie, Chica, and Freddy with just his bare hands. This is an impressive feat because in the novel The Twisted Ones, which is canon, the original gang was able to fight the Twisted animatronics by themselves. The Twisted animatronics are strong enough to easily burst through buildings with ease and even survive explosions with enough power to destroy whole buildings. The original gang was not only able to take hits, but completely overpower these animatronics. And since William was able to overpower the original gang with his bare hands as a regular human, that makes him pretty strong. Springtrap is far stronger than human William Afton by an extreme amount. Springtrap can easily tear people into pieces, as stated in FNAF AR in one of his voice lines, as well as being able to crush a human skull, which takes 500 kilograms, or 1,102 pounds of force. Overall, even as a human, William Afton would be extremely strong, and his strength is only multiplied by a drastic amount as Springtrap. M3gan, while being pretty small, is very strong. She was easily able to make Gemma fly through a wooden door, as seen in the first movie, towards the end. In a conversation with Katie, M3gan had a lot of confidence in her ability to, quote, rip Gemma's head off, so she can potentially be able to rip limbs and entire heads off of people, which takes several thousand pounds of force, which far exceeds anything that a normal human can do. M3gan was also strong enough to break Gemma's femur bone with a single punch, which also takes a lot of force. So overall, M3gan is very strong despite her size, and she should not be underestimated. So who's stronger? It's not as one-sided as you might think. Both are able to easily break bones and tear limbs off of humans, but the difference is that William Afton was able to do that and then some as a human before his multiplier as Springtrap. Even as a human, William could very easily overpower M3gan due to being able to rip apart the FNAF 1 crew with his physical strength alone. And Springtrap is so much stronger than human William that it's not even fair. So Springtrap takes strength. Now let's talk about speed. Springtrap is actually a lot faster than people think. As a human, William was able to outpace Foxy, who was the fastest member of the FNAF 1 crew. We can calculate how fast Foxy is by using some math with pixels, as you can see on screen right now. Bonnie is able to move at speeds at around 46 miles per hour, or 20 meters per second, and Foxy should be able to move at around 50 to 60 miles per hour, or 22 to 26 meters per second. So human William Afton should be around this level of speed, plus a little more. But Foxy also, no joke, has some subsonic speed scalings by being comparable to Nightmare BB and Ultimate Custom Night. I'll put the calcs on screen, However, since this is during UCN, which takes place after William's death, I won't really use it. So William Afton would be capable of running at around 60 miles per hour and higher. Springtrap is capable of running, as we see in FNAF 3, and also being able to crawl through the entire Fazbear Fright's establishment just by crawling at speeds of 18 meters per second. By some more math using pixels and the time it takes Springtrap to get from his spawn point to the office, we can calculate this speed of 18 meters per second. To summarize, Springtrap should have a running speed of around 60 miles per hour, or 26 meters per second, and a crawling speed of around 18 meters per second, or 40 miles per hour. I'll put the source of all calculations in the description. As for his reaction speed, we can use the Midnight Motorist's minigame, which a lot of people theorize to be William Afton as the orange figure we see in the minigame, to determine that he has very fast reaction times. He's capable of driving a car at 200 miles per hour, or 89 meters a second, while weaving through heavy traffic. Whether you want to use this or not is up to you, but for this video I'll be using it. M3gan has some pretty good showings of combat speeds, more so in the second movie. In the first movie, M3gan was able to catch up with a fully grown man running away in fear while walking. The average male can run up to speeds of 6 miles per hour or 2 meters a second, so M3gan's walking speed should be slightly faster than this. In the second movie, M3gan was able to fight Amelia, who should be equal to M3gan. However, M3gan's reaction time is her best speed-related stat, since in the second movie, she was able to react and dodge bullets. While not point blank, it's still pretty impressive. While Springtrap is far faster than M3gan in terms of combat and travel speed, M3gan has a faster reaction time. It's not drastically higher, but it's still slightly higher. This is due to the fact while it's very hard, it's still possible to drive a car 200 miles per hour through heavy traffic without crashing. F1 race car drivers can do it. Dodging bullets, however, is something humans can't do, and bullets move faster than a lot of cars. In fact, most cars. So I'll give combat and travel speed to Springtrap and reaction speed to M3gan, although it's pretty close. Now let's talk about durability. Springtrap is extremely durable, and it's one of his best attributes. Springtrap was able to survive Fazbear Fright's catching fire and the building collapsing on top of him, as we see in the game's sister location in a secret ending. He survived thousands of pounds of rubble slamming onto him, and he was just fine, although his suit did take some damage. Although Springtrap has a form of immortality with Remnant, and if his physical body is destroyed, he can just place his consciousness in a different body. We see this in Glitch Trap and potentially Burn Trap, although Burn Trap might not be canon to Security Breach's DLC Ruin, hinting to the fact that the Princess Quest ending is the canon one, and not the Burn Trap one, so I won't be taking Burn Trap into account. Not that he would help much since he's basically feetless. So Springtrap is very durable, being able to survive whole buildings collapsing on top of him, and even extreme levels of heat, having to deal with not just the building collapsing, but the entire building being on fire. Even if he's destroyed, that won't put him down permanently, and he'll just transfer his consciousness elsewhere. M3gan is very durable in her own right. She was able to fight Amelia on equal ground, who has also been stated to be stronger than M3gan's strength from the first movie, and then some. This means Amelia would have the same bone-breaking punches and physical strength required to rip the limbs off humans M3gan had in the first movie. M3gan was also able to tank being slammed through a wooden table by Bruce, which is the giant robot from the first movie, as well as only receiving minor damage from a weed whacker, which is probably her least impressive feat. So despite being very durable, M3gan is way easier to destroy than Springtrap. Has never shown enough durability to survive a building collapsing on her, like Springtrap could. And even if she were to somehow be more durable than Springtrap, Springtrap would still take durability due to his immortality with Remnant. So Springtrap takes durability. We are coming on to the last few stats, so remember, Springtrap has the edge in strength, combat and travel speed, and durability, while M3gan has the edge in reaction speed. Let's see if M3gan can close the gap when we talk about IQ, experience, and their abilities, starting with IQ. William Afton is an extreme genius. He was able to not only build most of the animatronics that have such complex designs like the Funtime animatronics, but even the Scooper, which manipulates soul energy and turns it into Remnant. So he can basically manipulate pretty much supernatural structures. He was also able to form a sort of mastery over said Remnant. He was also able to get away with the murder of the children for a long time due to his planning and covering up his tracks. It was even able to see through and outsmart Henry Emily, who is of similar intelligence to himself. As for his experience, he doesn't have much combat experience, but he was making the animatronics and making research plans for many years. So he's more book smart, but he is sly when it comes to combat. M3gan being an android is undeniably intelligent. In the first movie, it was established that M3gan is hooked up to the entire internet, meaning she has all sorts of information in her head at all times. M3gan is able to form strategies and tactics to track and pursue her targets, as well as being able to evolve her intelligence to higher levels. She was able to diagnose children with learning disabilities correctly just by looking at them once. She was also able to create device plans to murder without suspicion, and she even grew so intelligent she surpassed not only her creator Gemma, but her own programming. As for experience, M3gan was not alive and functioned for a very long time. She was inactive for 2 whole years between the events of both movies, and the only real combat she faced was the climax of the first movie against Katie and Gemma and the Amelia fight. In fact, her entire lifespan is the 2 movies, minus the 2 years in between them. So who's smarter? While it's close, I'll give the edge to M3gan due to her ability to surpass Gemma in intelligence, who is similar to William Afton herself in intelligence. She also has constant access to the internet, which would give her the answers to any problems M3gan might face. As for experience, it's hard to tell due to these characters' lack of combat experience, but I give the ever so slight edge to Springtrap due to him being around longer. Although you can argue them tying in experience, I just see William Afton / Springtrap taking combat experience slightly more. Before I move on to the finalist stats, their abilities and equipments, let me remind you one last time of the current standings in this fight. Springtrap has the edge in strength, combat and travel speed, durability, and now experience, while M3gan has the edge in reaction speed and IQ. Let's wrap up this video by talking about their abilities and their equipment. Springtrap doesn't have, say, any abilities under his belt like flight or super speed, but he does have immortality with his remnant, which I already talked about. And the only equipment he really has is murder weapons such as axes and knives. Although if we take a glitch trap / malware into account, which is just the other half of his soul, then William can possess any electronic mechanism and hack / possess them, and we've never really seen this fail. We also see that in Security Breach, he was able to take over most of the Glamrocks, with the only one being able to not be controlled was Glamrock Freddy. M3gan is also a very talented hacker who can hack into anything electronic. We see this many times in the first movie. She was able to hack into an electric sports car in the first movie, as well as many other things. She also has very agile capabilities, able to run on all fours at fast speeds, and of course, she has superhuman characteristics like heightened strength and agility. So who wins? At first, this might seem close, but in reality, it isn't. Springtrap wins with low difficulty, potentially mid difficulty. Obviously, he's a lot stronger, faster, and more durable than M3gan, and despite her faster reaction time, it isn't fast enough to really change the outcome of this fight or help her much. M3gan also can't really hurt Springtrap in any real way, despite her bone-breaking strength. So what if you can break bones if you're fighting somebody who can survive a building of thousands of pounds of rubble being collapsed onto them? Also, M3gan can't hack Springtrap, despite what all of the M3gan fans want to say. Since he isn't made of electronic parts like the Glamrocks, and 2, he's controlled by the soul of William Afton, so that wouldn't really do anything. Even if he could be hacked, which is, again, impossible, he could just transfer his consciousness to another being and continue the fight. To my knowledge, M3gan hasn't really shown any immunity to being hacked herself, but even if she did, William can just split his soul and possess her using glitch trap / malware, and then the fight's over. So the winner of this video is Springtrap / William Afton with low to potentially mid difficulty. I hope you enjoyed this video. This video took me a while to make, and I had a good time enjoying it. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. And if you disagree with anything I said in this video, comment down below, and I'll make sure to read your comments. All right, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm Dusty, signing off.